Hi, Claire here, aka Miss Dress, and your very own personal fashion stylist. Now, if you are a regular Miss Dress YouTube viewer, you might be wondering, where on earth have I been for the last couple of months? Because I haven't made a video in ages. Well, I've got some really special news to share with you, and that is I am 3 months pregnant. And consequently, I got struck down with that hideous thing called morning sickness, which meant that I needed to take some time out of work to recover. But the great news is I am back, and I have got plenty of style advice coming your way. So before I get on to videos talking about maternity wear, because I'm sure a few of you watching might be interested in that, and especially given my ensemble today, which is very mismatched as I rapidly outgrow my own wardrobe, but not quite at the stage where I need to get to maternity wear just yet. It's actually not that I want to talk about. I want to talk about something that is growing besides my bump, and that is my boobs. So this video is relevant to you whether you are pregnant or not. If you have got big boobs, I want to just go through some style do's and don'ts to help you dress and flatter your bust in a better way, because whether you've always had big boobs or whether, like me, they're a recent addition to your body, then these tips will surely help. Okay, so tip number 1 when it comes to big boobs is stick with scoop and V-necks. They are by far the most flattering neckline for you, whether it's a dress, a top. You can go slightly higher. You could do perhaps a slash neck, but I would strongly avoid anything that's a round or a crew neck, because that does tend to create that ski slope effect on your chest, especially if your bust isn't particularly perky. It's a little bit low, shall we say. That tends to only emphasize it if you go for these high, close neck lines. So if in doubt, always go with that low scoop or V. That will create this really flattering shape. And who cares if a little bit of cleavage is showing, because actually you're really embracing the fact that you have a big bust and really letting it show. Now, my second tip for you, and this is a pretty obvious one, but it does get overlooked quite often, is when it comes to choosing vest tops, go for a slightly thicker strap. Don't go for those spaghetti straps. And that's the same for dresses, in fact, as well. Those little slip dresses that seem to be around at the moment. The reason being is you are more than likely going to be wearing a bra. And even if you're wearing a strapless bra, the fact that your bust is quite big and cumbersome and heavy looking, those dainty little straps only then emphasize and almost make it look like your bust is straining on those straps, even if they fit perfectly. So the way to get around that is to go for that slightly thicker, slightly more sporty style strap, and that will ensure that when you wear a vest top or a strappy dress, it's going to look more flattering and really complement your bust size. Now, my third tip is try to avoid lots of fussy detail that is focused across your bust. So by that I mean, you know how there's lots of ruffles around at the moment? Don't go for any of those tops where it's got lots of that detail focused on here, because what happens is you've got lots and lots of busy detailing up and around your bust, it tends to make you look wider, both from this angle and also from this angle too. So just to be really aware of that. What you can do is that doesn't mean you need to avoid frills or ruffles completely. It just means that when you look for tops or dresses that have got that detail, it just needs to be focused in a central point, not too big, not too busy, but just a central point that works vertically down your body. That optical illusion. Remember, I talk about it all the time, of vertical lines going down the center of the body helps to really elongate and slim, and certainly when it comes to busts, helps to minimize their appearance. Now, tip number 4 is a little bit of a sort of double whammy because I want to talk about jackets. Now, first of all, when you're choosing particularly a fitted blazer style, I want you to really look for just single button blazers where that button ends on the waist. Don't go for a double breasted style because, again, those are quite fashionable at the moment. They'll just make you look very boxy and rectangular at the top upper half of your body. And neither do the 2 or even those 3 button blazers tend to be that flattering. The single button, whether you do that button up or not, you leave it undone, just the cut of that blazer, cut in at the waist, helps to create that much more flattering shape over the bust because the lapel is going to be longer, and also by drawing in more attention to the waist, again, is another way of complementing your bust but also slightly minimizing it as well. Now, part 2 to my jacket tip is if blazers aren't really your thing, or like me, you like to have a vast array of jackets and blazers in your wardrobe, then you don't just have to exclusively stick to this sort of fit and flare shape, as I like to call a blazer. You can indeed go for slightly more boxy jackets with a high neck. So remember I said tops don't quite work with high necks. Well, actually, jackets do. They're very flattering on bigger busts because what happens with these jackets that sit just a little bit shorter, maybe on the waist or just below, maybe on the top of the hip, those jackets that have got the high round neck, the way that they sit with their open panel, creating this sort of vertical flash of your outfit underneath, really flatters your bust. So having that jacket sort of sit almost like down the center of your bust helps to break up that line, minimize the bust, but also at the same time really complement its shape too. And then finally, tip number 5, and it's an old favorite of mine, I love to keep reminding you of this one, is wear elbow length sleeves or 3/4 length sleeves. This really does help to complement a big bust, because what happens is by having that slightly longer, shorter sleeve, it just helps balance out this upper half of your body and draws attention to your waist so that you don't look too boxy and rectangular on the upper half. Especially if you go for something that's a slightly bit more of a loose fit, it just softens that whole area and gives a far more flattering shape. So I hope these style tips have been of benefit to you, whether it's just to remind you of a few do's and don'ts around big boobs, or whether you've just learnt something new altogether. Don't forget, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I am back to churning out videos every single week. So in order to ensure you don't miss a single one, make sure you hit that subscribe button down in the corner there. And I shall see you very soon for some more advice I know is going to help you improve your wardrobe. Stay stylish.